Hello, and welcome to Let's Talk Real Estate and Stuff, the podcast where we dive deep into the world of real estate investing and the random stuff that makes life interesting. I'm John Whitfield, joined by my co-host Carlos Samar from Carrot CRM and InvestorFuse, and BP from the Mogul Home Park Operator. Man, I thought I got my title right, but you did a plus sign, not an and symbol.
Mm,
Next week it will be perfect if I
I didn't even
remember.
notice that. It's like an AI generated image, just little touches off there.
How were your travels last week, BP? Going to all of your parks.
Tell you what, it was interesting. It's always good, man. I love being on site and stuff. And you guys know, as an operator, you know, I don't even know. I probably got about like 8 or 9 different homes and stuff project. I always say it's like flipping homes. It's like you have guys are always like, oh, I'm flipping like 3 homes or 5 homes or whatever, and they're gonna make this big profit. And so you're really motivated to do that because like when you see your flip done, you're like, oh man, I'm gonna sell this thing and make like 40 grand or something and go buy a Lambo. I don't know. But like with mobile home parks, it's like you're doing the same work, right? It's the same
Yeah.
stuff, but there's no immediate reward at the end of them getting done, but it's still sourcing materials. It's still like you still coordinating the work scopes and the vendors and all this. So anyway, I mean, I went out and I spent so much money. It was like sickening. When you're doing this much, and I know I have the money because we raised the capital, but when in one day you're here just buying materials and you're dropping like 30 grand on something, like I'm constantly checking my bank accounts and like, yeah, there's money, but it's like, holy shit, like, do I need to transfer this money? Like, do I have enough to buy this? Like, what's my budget? And so I was out there, I had to get roofs going. We're putting metal roofs on, metal skirting on. We're rehabbing a couple homes in one park, building a mailbox center in that park. And then I had a leak in that park. I had a tenant refusing to pay rent. And it's like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just one thing after another that gets compiled. But I went to the 3 different parks that I have in that area out in Arkansas. I checked on 2 rehabs that had just gotten finished at another park, and they look good. A couple punch out items. I had to send my guy. And then I got the Bayshore,
Which
the
one's
newest one,
Bayshore? The newest one?
the
Okay.
newest one. And honestly, I was like, fuck. It reminded me of the one in Georgia that I bought last year. And I was like, I really did it to myself, didn't I? Someone had once told me when I was younger, I forget who it was or what it was, but they were like, you have a lot of problems going on in your life, don't you? And they're like, and I was like, yeah, like a lot of things, issues or whatever. And they were like, but it's all of your own making, it seems. And it was really eye opening. I don't know. Maybe I was like 28, 30. I was younger and I was just like, and I really reflect on that now. And as I was looking at that park and I was thinking about the workload of like, I'm demoing 8 homes there. I got to put
Damn.
in yeah. So I'm coordinating demo, I'm coordinating moving electrical lines.
Like
And
demo as in completely removing a mobile home
so I ran,
down to the
yes.
wheels.
Yeah, but there's no wheels on them anymore. But yeah, down the axles, the frame,
Good
removing
God.
them out of the park. Um, and you may ask, like, why would I do that, right? Because I'm sitting here talking about rehabbing.
Yeah.
So, like, it comes down, like, because I was walking with our guy out there and he was asking the same questions. And he was like, well, how come you're going to demo this? And I met my handyman out there, my whatever, he's not a contractor, but my dude, I met him out there and he asked the same question. So, like, between the manager and the rehabber, they were all asking that, like, well, why are you demoing this one? Because this one's in the same condition as the other one you told me you want to rehab. It all comes down to size, John. It's like, I got a 2-1, 784 square feet that I'm going to dump in. It needs roof coating, it needs porch, maybe I dump in 15 grand, 10 grand, whatever. Probably 15 because there's always some shit wrong. And you start looking at that and you're like, why would I just put a new home on there?
Mm-hmm.
I could get a 3-2, 1,280 square foot home, single wide, drop it on there, and maybe spend like 18K to do that. The home itself, obviously, I'll have payments on the home. The home will probably be like 60 grand plus delivery or whatever, depending on what we go with. Um,
Would
but
that be
like
a brand new home too, though? Or
brand
are
new
you
home,
okay?
brand new. So I'm hooked up with, we'll use Legacy. So I'll get like legacy homes put into the park, and like a very basic model, 3.2, comes with the AC, and I forget the pricing. I got their pricing sheet, but whatever it is, and
Is it really only
it,
60K?
well, yeah. So at dealer pricing. So remember, I got my dealer's license. So at dealer
Okay.
pricing, and we're talking basic, like they go up, like so. It's just like anything you buy. You could check boxes. I want the mini split. No, I want a real AC. I want drywall. No, I want cheap wall boards. You know what I mean? Like you can pick based on like the model and what you're looking for, and they will, manufacture it for you. Um, so we'll go with like the wallboard ones. We'll go with the real AC system, and we'll hook everything up. But like, why would I spend the same amount of money on an old home that maybe gets me like 700 in rent
When you can
versus
spend the same amount of money and get
get
better
like
rent.
1,000 or 1,100? Not only that, but if I want to sell it, it's easier to sell that new home than it is that POS. And then I have to consider where I'm at. And it's like, do I want it to look like a shitty old trailer park, or do I want it to look like a high end? I'm next to a lake with the big mansions and lake houses. I want it to be a good community that I can get the 1,000+ rents. I can sell my home and make a profit on it and get good lot rent. So that's kind of why like we're demoing these ones, like, because the one I was going to rehab, and even my rehabber after we had that talk, he's like, well, honestly, Brandon, like, why are we not just demoing? I'm like, you know what, Francis? I was like, you're right, bro. Let's demo this one too. So
How much? What's the time frame? Is it roughly the same to get a new home as it would be to rehab it?
no, so like I'm not even gonna bring in new homes until next year.
Okay.
So like I'll go through phases, right? Like, so my first phase is cleanup.
Yeah.
Because I want to raise my rents, but like I need to show people that like, and Tim Brott, like all the guys you listen to in commercial, like even the apartments, they all do the same thing. Clean up the grounds, clean it up before you do a rent raise. Let them know you're here and you got money and you mean business. And then you can do your rent raise, and then you can work on units. So like it's 13 acres. Trees are like 40, they're loblolly pines and like sweet gums and oaks. I'm taking down 56 to 64 trees.
Why?
Okay. I'm trimming another dozen trees. How much do you think that's going to cost me?
That was what I was going to ask you.
Let's
80
run some
grand.
numbers. Carlos, what are you thinking?
What was it? 65 down?
60. We'll round and say 60, right? Because we're going back and forth on what trees, but 60 some trees and a dozen trimming. What do you think that bill's going to be?
I'm trying to think because I've seen some.
And keep in
They're
mind,
probably
we're
not the
talking,
same as like Baltimore trees.
Yeah, we're not talking little trees, John. We're talking like what you would like old oaks. We're talking these things have been growing for 40 years.
Why are you getting rid of good trees?
I know. We can have that conversation too.
I'd probably price it out. I was gonna say $1,000 a tree, but that sounds a little rich. I'll go 500 a tree. Maybe round up 35.
No, bro. We're talking like 6 figures. So like right now we're between.
Oh my
like,
gosh.
We're talking like his initial bid for it was 120. You're not. So what you're talking about, like I don't have the photos handy on this computer in my studio, but like 30, 40 foot, 50 foot. Like these things are towering trees that have been growing. Some of them are up against the houses. So John, why am I doing it? So majority of them are literally growing up the side and touching the side of homes. Some of them are in, like I got 2 lots with 6 trees right in the middle of the lots. So I can't even fill those vacants if I don't cut the trees down and remove the stumps. And I forgot to include stump removal in those.
Stump grinding is expensive, yeah.
So yeah, I mean, you're easy talking another few $100 on top of like the $2,000, $3,000 bill for the tree, right? So, and they're giving me a good deal, but at the same time, wow. And so I was like driving to Chipotle after I met his guys out there and met them. And like we walked the entire park. We had spray paint. We marked every single tree with an X or a T for takedown or trim. And like he calls me and he was really nervous. He's like, Mr. Brandon, he's like, I wanted to talk to you. We kind of worked up an initial estimate. And I could tell like he was really concerned with what he was going to tell me, because his guys on the site kept kind of like hinting, well, we're kind of over that 50 grand mark. Well, we're kind of over that, as we're going through. He's like, man, this is a lot of work. We're probably like hitting over 75. And then he'd be like, man, like this is like 6-figure job, and I'm like, okay, let's just keep going. But they were doing it. Why do you think they were doing it? Right? They're feeling, yeah, they're feeling me out to see my reaction, to see if they're wasting their time, or if I'm just one of those guys that's like, oh yeah, let's do all this. Oh wait, it's not 20 grand. I'm not doing it. And that's what me and him. So me and Luis were talking about it when he called me, and I was driving, and I was like, Luis, I was like, let's be real. This was after we talked for 5 minutes. You called me to see if I was going to flip out of your quote, and you wanted to feel me out before you finalized anything. Am I going to flip out, Luis? No. Was I expecting it to be 6 figures? Yes. I run my numbers. I know what you charged in the past in my other parks. Like I came prepared, but here's where I want to be, and here's where you are. You know, let's see what we can do to kind of meet in the middle. And he'll still get a 6-figure payday, just not 120.
Right.
But like, and then I said, he goes, well, that includes hauling off. I was like, well, what are you doing with the trees? And this will bother you, John. What are you doing with the trees? He goes, I got to take them to the dump.
No,
John, like I need to describe like the loblolly pines are like straight shots, like perfect trunk, just straight up and down with some branches. They could trim the branches and have 30, 40 foot fucking specimen pine trees.
Yeah.
But here's what he taught me. Nobody wants them.
Why? Why would I mean, I guess we probably don't have many, what are the term I'm looking for? Not lumber houses, sawmills anymore. We don't have any sawmills anymore.
The ones that are, typically it needs to be of such bulk that it makes sense for them, and the trees need to be of a certain size. So when you're cutting down a tree in the woods, like what they do, you can fall it or have the tree fall or fell the tree, and they could get the whole 30-footer, 40-footer, whatever, and they can do whatever. You can have 16-foot sticks, you can all the shit that you want. But when you're around homes, they need to go up and start
down sections. Yeah.
So now you're limited. So now you're at like firewood guys, different like lumber yards that want these things, or carpenter. And he goes, those guys rarely come to pick it because it's just trying to coordinate them to get them to do it, what they want to take versus what they don't. And he's like in the firewood guys, he's like, good luck having them show up. He's like, I tried it before. He's like, there's a couple locals that we've tried between the lumber yards and like that. And he goes,
if the wood went somewhere, do you think it'd reduce your cost?
No. And he said, it actually cost me more money. And I said, why is that? He goes, most of them won't pick it up. They want me to deliver it. And the dumps here in their places. So by the time I get them loaded, trailer them up, make the run over to it, because again, you know what I mean? Like they don't want just the scraps. They want the good wood. So now you're picking through and getting them the wood that they want. Either way, moral of the story, I go, damn, I just feel like this is such a waste.
Definitely.
Of good lumber. And he agreed. He goes, when I started this, he goes, it was sickening. He goes, and I tried really hard in the beginning to try to save a lot of the stuff we were cutting down. He goes, it's just too much of a hassle, too expensive, and not enough options, basically.
Isn't it wild what like our industrious age has done to like basic resources that we still generate on our land, but don't do anything with at this point?
And yeah, it'd be different if I was talking about like, you know how like down in Florida we have like these old trees and they're like split in the middle and they go up and the trunks go this way and that way, and you got to. I get why you're not keeping those, right? But these are like what you would see in TikTok videos out in like Washington of them cutting down real trees in the forest.
Yeah.
And we're just going to junk them. So anyway, you know, so that was a big thing. That took almost like half a day of just walking the parks with them or walking the park and going through that. But yeah, so I mean, we're going to drop significant money in this community. And so I lined up all my vendors at that one park to meet each one of them and walk through their jobs, because I really want to show our investors going into Q4 what we've done. So I'm really pushing to have my demo and my trees done by the end of the quarter. It would be my goal.
Is it useful that this park is right near your other ones, and so you can have the same vendors that you've like validated for a few years?
Yeah. I mean, that's nice. Like I'm using a new demo guy. And I got pricing on him, so I'll probably spend about like 11 grand to demo and remove these plus dump fees. So I'll probably be closer to like 18K to demo.
How many? You said 6?
8.
That's not bad.
And
I didn't catch. Are the trees, or are they just getting thrown out?
Yeah.
It's such a waste. It's too bad it's not like a cold area. You can give them out to like residents for like fireplace wood
okay, but
if you had fire pits in the back.
No.
Fire pits in the back.
I agree with you, right? So I thought about that. I was like, man, like I feel like there's a business here. Like just go around. But again, he was saying, okay, so if you want to keep it for firewood, like who's cutting it all up?
Mm-hmm. Gotta make it a lot smaller.
And you got to season it too. You
Mm-hmm.
can't just burn pines
Gotta
like a
kiln it.
soft, yeah, like you. So either you have a kiln and you're drying it, or you just let it sit out. Usually, I mean, here in Florida, I gotta wait like a year. It depends on how thick it is, but like I have piles out in my yard that my wife wants me to get rid of. That I'm like, I'm seasoning my wood, honey. Like this is firewood for next
Do
year.
you keep it dry somehow?
No, I mean
I got
it'll
a
wet.
pile I bought last year that didn't burn well. I'm like hoping this winter it might burn well.
Yeah, I mean the sun will dry it up, but like I have so much that I've accumulated that yeah, I mean by the time I get to the newer, you know what I mean? Wet wood will burn if the fire's hot enough and you've already
Yeah.
got it going with the coals. It's just going to be smoky and all that. But anyway, so no, Carlos, because no one's going to chop it up, dude. Like
Yeah.
I would love to save the wood. Like it just sucks. But so if you think about that and you start putting it together, this is what I'm talking about. I'm like signing authorizations and like agreeing and shaking hands with people. And like I walked out of that park with like 200 grand in debt, you know, or not in debt, but you know what I mean? In the whole of like, here's what I'm
Expenses.
spending, yeah, of expenses in the next month that I got to sign checks for or like wire money for it. I'm like, oh, dude, like
It's wild.
it's wild. And we walked in some of the homes and like roaches everywhere. It's just so I got to coordinate pest people. It's a lot of work of coordinating all these things, and that's where I was like when I was walking in, I was like, "Yep, this is an issue of your own." Like you can't complain, bro. Like you did this to yourself. Like you literally bought this park. Like you got to do the work. Like you have no choice.
Do you think there's a limit to how many, let's say just you, capital is
park.
unlimited.
One more
How
park.
many new parks do you think you
One
could
more.
bring on? Just
I
one?
could do one more on my own.
And
So
that's, I'm saying like the getting it up to your standard. Like
none of them are up to my standard yet is the thing. Like it's such a long, tedious process because it really comes down to time and money. So like in Georgia, I'm really pumping. Like I've got like this system between this bad septics, my vacant homes, the material sourcing, the roofs, the skirt, like all of this stuff, my electric guy, like I feel like I'm like Henry Ford. I got a great assembly line. But like unless I find another crew and vet them, I can only do so many homes
yeah.
a month, right? And so like now we're going in, we did 1 year. So by year 2, Winona will be ready, probably fully rehabbed, and then are going into year 3, and then I can start infilling. But behind that comes the other park, right?
Right.
And so they're never done per se.
So you're more limited on the people that can do the work than your capacity to manage the work.
It's a combination of both. Because I'm limited on them, I'm limited on my capacity. Because if they're doing 2 homes a month and slowing me, it's not like I could do all my work scopes on day one, source all my materials, put them in a trailer and say, hey guys, just go down the line. Like I'm not, maybe one day I would do something like that, but like that's a logistical thing I would have to work out too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So because of them, every month they're done. They need 2 more homes. So now I'm walking, work scoping, picture taking, you know, ordering materials, cabinets, roofs, and then that's for those 2. And then I have the other parks. So what I'm saying, John, is like I have the capacity to probably take on one more park. That would be 5 parks on my own without a huge team. We have a small team for leasing, admin, and accounting. And yeah, if I were to bring on another CapEx and leasing person, I could probably handle another 4 parks or 5 parks. I probably get up to 10 with 2 more people.
On just your internal team. And
yeah.
And you'd think you wouldn't have to expand your on the ground teams?
Yes and no, because I didn't take that into assumption because it's like, where am I buying them, right? Like, you know what I mean? So obviously if I buy them in a new area, me building out teams is just part of the business. Yeah, it makes my life easy when I use the same guys. It speeds things along, but that's not what I say slows me down. It's just more of my work. Because even if I got guys, I still need fucking babysitted. Like for example, these idiots put in new septics for me. And we pulled the permits. I did everything by the book. And they didn't bury it enough because the city didn't want to bury it too deep. And so they sent me photos and I'm like, cool. So I pay them out. And I've used these guys and they're good dudes. And like, my handyman there is putting in skirting, and he's like, dude, like, I don't know what you want me to do. The sewer pipe is coming out the middle of the skirting. Like, you want me to cut your metal? I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? And he sends me photos. I was so pissed. I called up my guy, and I called up both of them. I called the septic guy and the dude who laid the lines, and I flipped out on both of them. Like, I don't get mad in business. Like, I learned in my 20s to control my temper because that's not how you do business. But I was livid, and I flipped out, and I told, because they all have so much money with me of like how much business I give them, and they know I'm doing like another 10 septics and all this shit, and they want the jobs. And I flipped out and I said, this is bullshit. I said, and they sent me photos. I was like, you have lines, sewer lines running all through my park. I was like, I told you how much money I'm spending on this park, and you think I want fucking 4-inch sewer pipes running out of middle of homes across? He's got one propped up on a fucking brick. And I'm like, it looks like a goddamn roller coaster. I was like, and he's trying to make excuses. And he's like, well, you know, the thing is this, and it's this, and the inlet's here, and your drop. And I'm like, bullshit. And I was like, bullshit. And I was like, it is not common sense that I should expect you to have all my sewer lines laying on top of the ground. And if something like that happened, you would need to call me and tell me that, and we would work through that problem. I was like, but the photos you sent me coincidentally made it look like everything was underground. And then when I see photos up close, I see that they're not. And I was like, and I paid you, and I yelled at the guy laying the lines. I paid you $750 fucking to lay these lines for you to do what? Can glue plumbing is easy. It's literally gluing pipes.
It's the digging.
And I was like, I thought I was paying you to dig the damn trench, not lay the pipes on top of the effing ground. And so like when I got to the septic guy, I was like, I am not putting another septic in with you until this is effing fixed. Because if this is what I got, I'm not spending more money. And I was pissed, and I hung up on him. I literally hung up on him. And the next day, my guy there sends me a photo, and he's like, are you dropping dirt off? I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, the septic's dug up and there's dirt. So I called my septic guy back. Apparently him and the other guy got together. They felt real shitty, and they're solving the problem.
Oh my God, that's funny.
And so, but the drama's not over. So then I'm like, okay, before you lay dirt on, I was like, I want photos. So he starts sending me photos, and it's still not fixed. And I'm like, bro, that line needs to be it is under the ground as best as it can be. And I'm like, it's not under the ground. If you look at it, it's literally sticking out of the ground. It's still half of the pipe is in the ground and half of it's not in the ground. You know what I mean? Like, and so it's just like,
is it because they couldn't dig the septic tanks so deep because the county didn't want them so deep?
So there's a 1/8 drop, right? That per foot that you need on a pipe. And we have a 40-foot run. So, and because of where the county put the pipe, it's a long story. It's just mathematically, I get where he's coming from. He could have done it a little bit differently, where we could have went under the ground for the one, you know what I mean? But obviously they just didn't. And then, so we adjusted it, and they're all under the ground as of yet. It was 2 days of, it was last week. Yeah, it was over the weekend, I think, is when I started flipping out. And then Monday, it was Friday. And then Monday is when I got the call about the dirt. And that's when they got together over the weekend. That's what it was, because today's Tuesday. Yeah. So anyway, long story short, they're working on it, and there were still shortcuts taken. But it's amazing, when I flipped out yesterday a couple times based on them still not getting it right, he comes up with all these solutions. And he's like, well, listen, Brandon, I could do this. And if you let me take the skirting off, I could reroute the pipe this way. And I'm like, do it. In my mind, I was thinking, well, then why didn't he do it to begin with?
Mm-hmm. Do you think you'll ever let somebody project manage these jobs for you?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm like Pace Morby.
You'd have to at some point, right?
You know how like
if
Pace
you want to
was
scale
like,
a certain amount.
Well, yes and no. Like, I always look at Pace, and I watched his one video, and he was like, people are like, hey, you can't be on the road doing all this stuff if you want to scale. Like, you need to be in the office running your business. And he's like, bullshit. He's like, this is what I love. Like, I'll just hire people to run the business so I can be doing the part. And that's probably me. Like, I love being out of, I love the drama. I love arguing with these people. It's stressful, and you come home, and then you're just like stressed out because literally you're on the phone fighting with people all day. But like, you know, it's what I get paid to do. It's like,
right.
So I would probably have somebody to help as we scale and probably build a team out. But like, who's going to be the one double checking stuff? Like, I want to be the guy. That's why I got my RV. Like,
people take over the office part of the job, all of that, like maybe even acquisitions, and you just stay with like making my parks look great.
Yeah, like I don't want to pay people. I don't want to buy the materials. I would love to do the work scopes, walk there, here's what you need. And I already have like processes, like I built out material standards,
Yeah.
SKUs, models, pricing, categories. And like I tell you what to buy and you go, like I would love to not do that. You know how much time it takes to buy material for one house and like go through what's in stock and what's not and like coordinate that? It takes hours to do it per project.
Wild.
So yeah. So there's always something, but yeah, I mean the trip was good. Got to meet the vendors. Got some tenants, the drama on the tenants, the baby, well, somebody's in jail. I got a baby daddy in jail. Payment, someone needs a payment plan. Someone else got into a car accident, can't pay, needs to get on a payment plan. Somebody else lost their job but got a job back but not making, you know what I mean? Like it's always something. And they all, when they see me, because I walk the park. Like I do not drive. I park and then I walk up, and one, I'm fat and I need the exercise, and two, I want people to see me. I want people to know that I'm at the park and I'm handling shit.
Mm-hmm.
That's so funny.
Ah, the tales of mobile home parks.
Yeah.
Could be a reality show.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like, so we're evicting this one guy. He hasn't paid his rent, but he has the money.
What?
And he's like, why don't you just come get the money? I'm like, Dennis, I was like, you need to go and either set up an online account and pay, or you go down and do what you've been doing for the last 2 years and go down to the place where they accept cash and they'll put it online for you.
Mm-hmm.
And he said some racist shit. He goes, I ain't waiting in line with no blank down there at Walmart. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, fucking angry, grumpy old fucking men. And I'm like, I just don't tolerate that shit. I'm like, I don't give a shit. I was like, why don't you just take a check? I'm like, I was like, and I didn't say it to him, but like I was bitching about it to our community manager. And I was just, to Dennis, I was just like, you need to abide by the rules like everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
But like to the other guy, I was bitching. I was like, bro, I was like, this motherfucker doesn't want to wait in line, but he doesn't mind if I wait for him to mail me the check that I have to go then wait in line and then deposit because you know what I mean? Like, because I can't, because you can't, my bank won't take money orders over a mobile app. So like, and you don't want to check because it gets canceled, right? Like,
Right. Yeah,
so you want a
need
money order. So I got to physically, I got to
you
wait
have
in
to
line.
go wait in line to go get a money order?
Yeah. But you got to go to Walmart typically to do the cash drop. So,
Okay.
or whatever it is. So either he's getting the
You
money
could go to a
order or that.
normal bank and do a money order.
I think his real problem is that he's a racist old man who doesn't want to wait in line with a certain demographic of people, and he's angry and nobody likes him. And honestly, I do not mind evicting him. And I told my manager, I was like, you tell Dennis that if when I get back into town,